Hey everybody, I'm Chris, and in today's video we're going to show you how to remove a Norden fuel tank. There's a lot of screws, but I promise you, if you watch this video, you're not completely screwed. Ba-dum-bum. So I know some of you are probably asking the question, why would I want to remove the fuel tank? Well, some people want to do simple maintenance. They want to clean the insides of their bike. After a while, enough dirt and debris can kind of get collected up underneath there with enough rides. So sometimes people want to go through and clean that up. It might be installing one of our filtered fuel lines. It might be installing a Power Commander 5, but either way, we're going to show you how to do it. It's really not that hard, and if you follow this video, we're going to show you every screw, and some of them are hidden here and there. But we'll show you the little tricks on how to get this thing apart. So follow us, and let's dive into this thing. So the tool list for this could not be any simpler. It's basically a number 30 Torx, a plier for the spring clamps on the fuel lines, and a 6mm Allen. That is it. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is remove the skid pan, which is really easy. It's just 6 screws. They're either number 30 Torx or 8mm sockets. There's 2 on the bottom right here, and then there's 4 in the front here. So we're just going to remove those, and the skid pan will just drop straight out. There is a overflow line here. This is designed for the water. If any water gets up in the top cap to drain here, you just kind of pull that, pop that off like that, and then we're going to remove this guy right here. Once the 6 screws are out, the skid pan should drop straight down. There's little interlocking tabs that kind of dovetail with the fuel tank, so you just need to kind of get those out. They kind of fit up in here, and then once those are out, the whole thing should pull off just like that. All right, while we're down here, we're going to be disconnecting the fuel line and a few electrical connections. So this is the balancer line that balances the lower portion on the right side of the tank to the lower portion of the left side of the tank because it straddles the motor. And that's how they get fuel from the right side to the left side where the fuel pump is. So we're going to do a few things here. First, we're going to close these 2 valves. And so this one is closed already, and then we're going to reach over to the other side and close that one. And the reason you want to do that is so fuel doesn't flow out of the hose. So it's important that you close both of them. Then you want to get some sort of needle nose or duckbill pliers, compress this little circlip here, and move it off to the side. And then we're going to work the fuel line off both sides. Now be careful, there's going to be a bunch of fuel that comes out of this, so I would be prepared with just a small towel when it pulls off, and it'll just kind of drain. And just make sure you don't splash any fuel in your eyes. Also, while we're on this side, we're going to disconnect the fuel level sender connection right here. So you just put your finger on it like this and just push it off, and that's all you have to do on the right hand side. Now we're down on the left-hand side of the bike, and we're going to do the same thing with this fuel line here. So we're going to back off this circlip and remove this fuel line here, and then we're going to unplug the fuel pump connection right here. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to plug one of our products. This is a pretty wimpy piece of sheet metal to protect such delicate electronics such as your fuel pump. That's a vital part of your bike. So we have this Rottweiler Performance billet cover right here that is a lot stronger than this piece of sheet metal. So this will take a lot more damage. So plug, get this thing, replace that thing. Now we're going to reach in here and just do the same thing and pull off the fuel pump electrical connection. Now we're going to get into the bodywork. So to do that, first we have to remove the seat. So you're just going to need a key for that. We're going to start removing these guys here. Then right above the battery, just reach in and pull this piece straight back. Now we're going to remove this cover right here. There's 4 Torx bits. They're number 30 Torx. There's basically 2 up here on both sides, and then there's 2 hidden right below here. We're going to remove those and remove that part. Once the cover's off, it's going to expose these 4 bolts right here. This is a T30 Torx, so we're going to remove those now. Okay, now we're going to get into some of the hidden stuff here. So there's a couple of number 30 Torx bolts here that are similar to the rest of them. And there's also a number of clips that don't require tools to pull this out. So a lot of times when you're removing these things, it's a lot like the dashboard of a car. It's the way Husqvarna designs things is you remove one thing, it exposes more bolts. You remove those bolts, it exposes more things. And they tend to try to design things to where a lot of hardware is hidden. So we're going to show you where those two are now. These two are right here and right here. We're going to remove those, and then we're going to show you how to pull these side panels off. It's the same for both the right-hand side and the left-hand side. So all the hardware has now been removed, and we're ready to remove this side panel here. Now, there's a little bit of an overlap from this rear panel here, so we can remove this just by pulling on it and just pull that forward. That will free up just this little tab. You kind of don't have to do that, but for this video, we're going to do it. Now, what we're left with is a similar type of connection right here, right behind here. So we're going to pop that, and then this will sort of hinge out this way. And what we're up against here are basically just some of these clips here. So they have some male clips up here that are basically here and somewhere up there. And then they have some female ones here, here, and here with the male ones there, there, and there. So those things match up. So really all you have to do is, again, just kind of hinge it out and the thing will pop right off. So if you follow these directions perfectly and remove the hardware I've told you, this will come right off. Don't be scared of it. Now we're going to disconnect the drain lines at the top of the tank. So this is the vent that actually goes to the charcoal canister, and this one over here is actually just a water drain. So if any moisture gets around the fuel cap here, that's where the water goes. And this is the one that goes down to the skid pan on the right-hand side. So what's nice about these is they're actually marked in 3 places. They're marked on the hose itself, so you can see a D on the hose right here. There's an A here, and there's also an A here, a D here, a D here, and an A there. You really can't screw that up. So we're just going to pull these off like that, and that part's done. Now we're going to pull the fuel line from the throttle body. So we're going to reach right in here, and there's a little green clip that we're going to want to pull down. You can kind of feel it, and once we pull that down, you can hear it, this will pull straight out. All right, everybody, we're in the home stretch here. We're going to be focused on 4 more bolts, 2 on each side. 2 on the top here, 2 on the sides here, and we're going to remove those with a 6mm hex. It's good to get an extension with a socket like this. And the thing that we want to be careful of, and this is pretty much all KTMs and Husqvarnas of this nature are notorious for this, is on the inside of the fuel tank there is a rubber grommet that matches this outer rubber grommet. And when you pull the fuel tank, they tend to fall out and fall over the place, and you're going to basically fill the cuss jar with lots of cash trying to find those parts. So if you can kind of pull the tanks off and remove those before you remove the tank, that's going to be helpful. So let's take those out now, and then we'll finish up taking this tank off. So the parts that come out are basically going to look like that. These are the rubber grommets that fit between the fuel tank and the frame. Your best bet is to try to remove these ahead of time. Don't try to pull the tank off with these. Otherwise, they hit the floor and go rolling, and you are going to lose your mind trying to track them down. Mother damn it. No. Back here, you little... You stay right there. At this point, this is all the hardware that should be off the bike. So these bolts right here and this hardware came off the fuel tank. This hardware came off the skid pan, and all of this hardware came off the bodywork. Now, the good news is that these are all the same length and the same shoulder. On many different models, if they have to go through multiple pieces of plastic, these are either longer or different shoulder lengths, and you have to keep track of them. You don't have to on this bike. They're all the same. So that is a good thing, and this is what you should be looking at when you are done with the hardware. Okay, all you wandering Nordeners, we are ready to pull this fuel tank off. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is take these two breather lines and just tuck them up underneath the handlebars there to get them out of the way. The second and most important thing is make sure that you've gone over this video completely and that every single thing I've asked you to do has been done. Otherwise, when you pull up on this fuel tank, you might be yanking on some wires and you might do some expensive damage. So make sure that the fuel level sender wires are disconnected. Make sure that the fuel pump wires are disconnected. The fuel line is disconnected from both sides. And then the main fuel line up to the throttle body is also disconnected here. If those things are done and this video is followed precisely, then you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. So we're going to reach down right about here and start pulling up on the fuel tank, making sure that the fuel line over here doesn't drag on the frame. I'm also going to kind of straighten the bars a little bit here. And as we come up, right about here, we want to make sure that we're not yanking on anything. And I can visually see that nothing's connected. I can pull it off and set it on the floor. And we have successfully removed this fuel tank. So at this point, we're pretty much ready to install a Power Commander 5 or put on a Rottweiler Performance fuel line or clean the bike or do whatever you want to do. If you want to put this thing back together, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is play this video in reverse. From what I understand, if you play country music in reverse at the same time, you get your wife, your dog, and your truck back. That's just what I hear. Don't hold me accountable for that. I'll get back to you in another video whether that's true or not. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. We appreciate it very much. We do respond to you guys, and if you have any questions, we're here for you. And as usual, I got one last thing to ask you to do, and this is the most important part. Get out there and ride.